What we're going to look at today is why most clinics think that ads don't work in their specific clinic, but really why they are dead wrong. If you don't know who I am, my name's Elliot, former marketing manager in several successful multi-million-dollar clinics. So I'm just sharing what we did in our clinics and now we're doing with hundreds of clinics across the world. So you can just copy and paste it into your clinic without ever needing an expensive marketing agency. So let's dive into it. Because if you are a clinic owner, MSK Clinic owner, so you're chiro, osteo, physio, anything like that, then I want you to watch this entire video because the thing which I hear when I speak to most clinic owners is that they think ads don't work because the cost per lead starts going up. But that's just one metric that everyone looks at. And I want to break it down today on why that is just the wrong thing to constantly be looking at. Because that's why a lot of people will run these ads once, switch them off and tell everyone Facebook is dead. And maybe this is even with an agency. So you may be spending $2,000, $3,000 per month with an agency and just suddenly think that the agency is wrong and that all of a sudden Facebook ads don't work in your clinic. But that's crazy to judge it off maybe 1 month or even like one ad that you're going from. Because this is the belief that holds a lot of clinics stuck. When I was working in our clinic, we were one of several clinics in the local area running ads. But we were doing a lot more volume, we were spending a lot more, and also we were creating a lot more ads and doing a lot more things on social media. The reason we could do that, well, first, we had a marketing manager, so we had a marketing team, whereas most clinics don't. But also, the clinic I worked at, the systems were incredible. Therefore, the process that was in place is we could handle when cost per lead would start going up. So, and that wasn't the main metric that we looked at. But this is the one metric that a lot of clinics look at because they don't know any other metrics. And even the thing which I always say is, even if you're working with the marketing agency, the agency may send you a bunch of different metrics to look at. And cost per lead is one of them. And you don't understand all the others. So they look at like click-through rate, link click-through rate, all these different things. But if you don't know what any of those actually equate to, then how can you judge it? Therefore, you just look at the cost per lead. Which I understand, but this is the belief that will keep clinics stuck. Because most clinic owners just judge ads by the cost per lead, the clicks, and the short-term results. Being, did that one lead book in for an initial consultation? And was that profitable or not? And then they judge it by that number and say like, ads don't work for my clinic. And maybe they even break even on that, which feels completely logical, but is based upon the wrong assumption. And most of the clinics that we work with, we're getting 2 or 3x return on ad spend on that initial consultation, which is awesome. So you're making money initially, but it's not always the main metric to look at, especially when you're just starting out and or wanting to scale. And if you've got no brand, no following, because again, one of the main things which I see with clinics is they think that ads are just this thing that they can suddenly push up. And all of a sudden, they're going to get this flood of new people coming in. But they've not posted on social media in a year or 6 months or even ever and think that that's enough to build trust because they're posting from their brand new clinic and they're the only chiropractor in town or something like that. Or they're the best physio because they've been to XYZ college. But no one knows that. And this is why it actually makes sense, but it's the wrong metric to look at. Because this is the way which most clinics think. That you launch the ads, the cost per lead starts rising. Bookings therefore feel inconsistent and stress leads to uncertainty of whether it's actually working. So you stop. And that's just a common process. But clinics don't fail because the ads stopped working. They fail because they're measuring the wrong outcome. And yes, it can be an initial thing. And yes, we are always trying to make the initial consultation profitable, but that is not the key metric. The real question that clinics should be asking isn't, are ads working, but does one new patient cover the cost of getting them in? If the answer is yes, ads work. If the answer is no, ads expose the system problem. Let me explain that a little bit further. Because and we look at this in terms of someone coming in for a care plan as well. So if your patient visit average is only 2 visits, it will be hard, much harder for you to make money from running ads, because we've got to go out into the marketplace. We've got to put something out there to attract people in to your clinic. Otherwise, you're just going to hope. You're going to rely on referrals. You're going to rely on word of mouth, which is fine. If that's how you want it to go and you want to build upon the unpredictability of it and you don't actually want to serve too many people in your community, great, that's fine. But once we start getting your message out, once we push this out, we've got to start running ads, and ads cost money. It costs money to put an ad out in front of people and get an impression being eyeballs on your ads. Therefore, this will expose the problem in the clinic, because ads work, period. You've seen this as well in maybe some of your peers as well, but ads work. They get clicks and they get leads. So when people say that ads don't fill clinics, ads send people into whatever system you already have. So if your first visit isn't profitable, if you're spending an hour with each person delivering treatment on the first one and telling them, fixing them in one session, then that may be really good, but from a business sense, you're not going to be able to run the ads, because then maybe someone's spending $97 to come in and see you and they're getting sorted in one, which is amazing. And they may not ever actually be sorted. I am in the firm belief that if someone's had back pain for the last 40 years because they've been sat at their desk in the wrong position, never going to fix them in one session. Never. Miracle if you do, but you will never do that. Secondly, if your follow-up is inconsistent, then you will get leads in. But if you're only reaching out to them once and saying, we shouldn't be chasing leads because that's unethical, whatever other reason you give for that, then you're never going to be able to convert and make your money back from running ads. And this is one of the key things that drives me bananas when I speak to people, is that people say, I shouldn't need to chase leads in healthcare, because people, if they've got an issue, they want to come in. But I have 2 children. One of them has just turned 1. The other one is 5. We are busy. Life happens. I generally never pick up my phone to an unknown number. So if that was you calling me because I've got a bad back from having 2 children, then I'm never going to pick up the phone. But if I was to get a text message, then I may reply in between a set in the gym. But if I open that text message to see who this new number is texting me from, and then I forget, I'd want a little prompt to remind me to message back in a few days' time when I'm back in the gym. But people rely on this one method and think, if people don't pick up the first time, that's it. But it just doesn't make sense at all. Finally, your offer doesn't create urgency. Again, I speak with a lot of clinic owners and they say that it's unethical to do a discount on your initial consultation, or it's unethical to give people an offer, whether it's you're going to do a free posture alignment check or anything like that. It's saying that it's not a good thing for the profession. But we need to give people a reason to take movement, to take action, to do something, to get off their butt and do something about the pain. If someone's been with that pain for the past 40 years, they're pretty used to it. Whereas we need to give them something which is going to make them take an action. If we don't, then you will just blend in with everyone else. And they are not going to see the ad and think, I'm definitely going to come in. I'm going to come in and see Elliot's clinic, because otherwise, they've got no reason to get up and move right now. Because ads just amplify these problems, which is exactly why, and I see this all the time, one clinic can pay $30 per lead and grow, and another pays $10 a lead and still struggles. Is that it's the systems and not the ads. And we can measure this by the different metrics we look at when running ads, which is why we don't always just look at cost per lead. We look at all these other metrics to know if the ad is working and therefore highlight the systems issue. So this leads to the difference between clinics that grow and clinics that quit. Because the clinics that grow don't chase cheaper leads, they build a profitable first visit system, a clear offer and a simple follow-up system. That's it. They actually do something to try and get these people in who have raised their hand to say that they want help, to get them into the clinic, and they make the offer so good that it differentiates them from everyone else. Once that's in place, then ads start becoming predictable. There's no emotional stress or anything like that. There's no lack of predictability, because it's just a systems thing that we look at the numbers and we don't do this based upon, oh, I feel these ads aren't working very well. It's simple. That's it. So the simple truth, when someone tells me that ads don't work, I don't argue with them. They're usually right for the system they're running right now. But clinics that own the full process don't turn ads on and off. They use them as an input. They understand and then make edits based upon the leads they're getting in. And I know this won't be right for every clinic, because some clinics, you want to stay true to your word and think that this is right for the profession, that we shouldn't do a discount, we shouldn't do free posture alignment checks, we shouldn't do free getting at whatever it is in there, and that you should stay true to it, which is fine. Stick with that. But if you do want to grow, and by that, I mean you want to help more people in your community, then you've got to look at these other metrics to know if the ad works, great, then what other things do we need to tweak in the system? And honestly, this is one of the main things that I show in this group. So this is where in our school group, we've got hundreds of clinic owners in here. And this is where we show you how you can know what things you need to change and the key metrics you should be looking at. If you want to go and get started with that, we've got a free trial going on right now. Go and have a look, and I'll be able to help you out in that.